The girl was preparing for her final exams, but her father suddenly arrived and took her away on the spot. Before leaving, he warned everyone else to go home immediately. It was about to rain outside. Ignoring the girl's resistance, the father drove the entire family away. It seemed like something terrifying was about to happen. But when faced with questions from his family, the father acted as if he heard nothing. He just kept pressing down on the gas pedal. However, his nervous expression showed that the situation was clearly extremely serious. At that moment, the girl looked back out the window, only to find that the once clear sky had suddenly become covered with dark clouds. It looked like it would start raining very soon. After hearing this, the father didn't dare hesitate. He sped up once again and told the girl to quickly fasten her brother's seatbelt. However, the boy was very unwilling, just as the father was about to fasten it for him himself. The family almost got into a rear-end collision. Although they luckily avoided disaster, the truck overturned while trying to avoid them. Seeing that the road was completely blocked, and the heavy rain in the distance was about to arrive, the father had no choice but to evacuate on foot. During the escape, he kept urging his family to move faster. Soon raindrops began falling from the sky. Fortunately, before the storm arrived, the family crossed the entire forest and successfully reached a bunker. To avoid the deadly rain, the family quickly hid inside. Only then did the father finally have time to explain everything. It turned out that the rain carried a deadly virus. Anyone who came into contact with it would become infected instantly and collapse and die without any warning signs. The reason the father knew so much was because he was the only one capable of eliminating the virus in the rain. In order to save humanity from this threat as soon as possible, the father immediately told his family that he had to leave this place temporarily.
You can't just go.
But thinking about the future of humanity, the father could only pull his daughter aside and tell her to take care of her mother and younger brother. Then the man put on a hazmat suit and walked outside, because he still had something more important to do. But no one expected that. Shortly after the father left, they suddenly heard a violent pounding on the door. The brother and sister thought their father had returned.
Is it dead? Can't be dead.
But their mother immediately rejected that idea. What their father had gone to do couldn't possibly be finished so quickly. Even if the person outside really was their father, he wouldn't knock on the door. He would simply use his key to open it. But before the mother could finish explaining, she was shocked to discover that the siblings had disappeared without her noticing. The two children had already excitedly run to the door and opened it without hesitation. But the moment they opened the door, a strange man appeared in front of them. Before they could react, the twitching man grabbed the boy. Seeing that her brother was about to be dragged away, the mother rushed out at the critical moment. She used her body to knock the man away. However, the mother's body had also been exposed to the rain. In an instant, the mother began convulsing as well. It was obvious that she had been infected by the virus. Seeing that her mother was already deeply infected, the daughter had no choice but to close the door, doing everything she could to keep her brother safe. The sister didn't dare waste any time. She immediately called her father, ready to report the emergency situation. But her father's phone could never be reached. This completely destroyed the sister's hope. With no other choice, she first put her brother to sleep. Then she planned to put on protective gear and go outside to check the situation. But thinking about the terrifying scene outside, the girl was filled with extreme fear. She could only keep blaming herself for opening the door despite her mother's warning, which caused her mother to become infected.
I never should have opened the door.
Fortunately, the girl eventually calmed herself down, because she knew she couldn't break down. Otherwise, her younger brother would become even more frightened. The next day, the two began exploring the entire bunker. Soon they discovered that there were similar bunkers in different areas. That meant there had to be other survivors like them. At that moment, the girl discovered a special button. Out of curiosity, she pressed it. Then a sound came from a nearby room. The two quickly went over to investigate. They discovered that this place could actually communicate with other bunkers. Seeing the current situation, the girl immediately regained hope for survival.
There's a connection to the other bunkers.
Is that there?
Maybe.
The girl quickly selected all the bunkers. She sent a communication request to them. But while the two waited excitedly, the screen suddenly showed that the call had failed.
Is it working?
Come on.
Seeing this, the girl immediately broke down. But soon she pulled herself together again. Since they couldn't contact the outside world, the two began planting crops inside the bunker. Because if they wanted to survive longer, food was absolutely essential. Only this way could they continue living. Although losing their parents was heartbreaking, in order to help her brother face life positively, after every meal the sister would sing and dance with her brother, and the two continued living like this day after day. However, those days quickly passed. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. The young boy had grown up, but one day while the woman was shaving her brother's beard, the boy suddenly asked,
He's probably dead. Mom's dead. And we'll die too.
No.
Yeah. You keep pretending everything's okay.
Faced with her brother's questions, the woman chose not to argue, because everything her brother worried about was true.